Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the Underrated Podcast. This is a podcast where we discuss the films that we feel that are underrated, underappreciated, and let's not forget the ones that have slipped under the radar and passed most people by. This podcast is made by a group of friends who are me, Fred Torres, and Alan Torres.
It's your boy.
Yo, it's Hove. We got Ariel and Sergio Ortiz.
Hello.
Hey.
And we got Derek McDuff.
The one and only.
And when we all combine our zords, we make the Undercast Company. Today we're going to be talking about Power Rangers, a 2017 film by Lionsgate and Saban. This film was directed by Dean Israelite?
Israelite, like Israel, like the
country. That's what I thought. I didn't want to mispronounce it because, I'm really bad with names, everybody, so you're going to figure that out right now. The cast includes Decree Montgomery as Jason the Red Ranger, Naomi Scott as Kimberly the Pink Ranger, RJ Seiler as Billy the Blue Ranger, Luden Lin as Zach the Black Ranger, Becky G, what up Becky G, as Trini the Yellow Ranger, Elizabeth Banks as Rita Repulsa and the Old Green Ranger, Bryan Cranston as Zordon and the Old Red Ranger, and then you had Bill Hader as Alpha 5, which is crazy. As of today, it has a 44 on Metacritic, and on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics gave it a 49, and the audience gave it 65. There's a little bit of a divide I saw there between the audience and the...
Really?
Yeah, man.
I didn't know it was that low.
Yeah, it got not great ratings coming out the gate.
60.
I remember, when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is great. Everybody must have loved it. No.
The budget was estimated $100 million. Domestically, it grossed about $85 million, and then foreign, I think, was about 40-something. It made it come out to basically $142 million. Pretty much, which you might look at it and go, hey, they're a little up, but a lot of the time that's a wash.
It made,
you kind of have to double it.
Yeah, it made about as much money as it
was to make.
To not, like, if it would have made just a little more, they probably would have been like, okay, the sequel's going to be hot, but it just made just like right under the threshold. Depending on how the toys did, that's probably why we haven't.
Yeah, I think if it had made 200, we would have got a sequel.
It underperformed in China is a big thing.
Yeah. And then, let me give you guys a little overview of this franchise. You might think Power Rangers to some is some brand new series, but it's actually a very old series. It started in Japan in 1975. Tell them, right? Started in 1975. It was a Super Sentai series. And if you go back at one point, for all the people that love Marvel, there's actually a Spider-Man Super Sentai series made in Japan.
Is that's Japanese Spider-Man?
Japanese
That
Spider-Man.
horrible show?
Whoa.
Is that Stan Lee came out and talked shit on?
Spider-Man? And he's got a Megazord?
Yeah.
No.
Leonidas?
I don't know.
Something like that.
All I know is that Stan Lee talked... That was like the one time Stan Lee talked shit on a Spider-Man property.
No. It was so good. It's such a good series that it got brought back into the comics.
Because they didn't have enough waifus.
Oh, thank you.
I understand it, but Stan, I know, God rest his soul, it kind of gave us Power Rangers. So if anything, Stan Lee created more.
Ooh, tell him.
Tell
him. So,
all right.
One
time I'm going to get mad at the man himself.
Stan the Get Mad, Stanley. But, anywho, Saban brought over Power Rangers as we know it. And so that's why when you watch the original Power Rangers TV series, you'll see the Japanese film. They're filming when the Megazord comes out. Certain fight scenes, you'll see them in the original series. So that's why it always looks like it's a little grainy, a little old, because it was done older. And
also you might notice that the Yellow Ranger is a dude.
Yes, it was a dude in the original Japanese series.
God rest her soul, Trini.
No, Trini was a girl. Mighty Morphin.
Remember?
Yeah, but she was in Mighty Morphin is what I'm saying. But he's talking about the Japanese version.
No, I know, but still.
And excuse me while I butcher this name, even though I love Power Rangers. The Japanese one was Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger, and it was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers here in the States.
It was 93 was the first. It had been going for a few seasons in Japan before, and it is a different show. It's not like, we just did a translation. They use the footage, but it is a different story than... No,
it follows the same story.
It's its own thing.
I've seen both of them. The only little difference is the way Rita Repulsa comes out and stuff, but they've...
even the story of like the whole...
Well, the green with the evil? No,
it's all different. They repurpose the footage.
There's
going to be some similarities.
The Japanese and the Mighty Morphin or the movie?
No, the Mighty Morphin.
The original Japanese show and the American version are different storylines. There's going to be obviously a lot of similarities because they're using the same footage, but they are different stories.
Well, in the sense of because one is supposedly back in the day of prehistoric. I've seen both seasons. So one of them's set in the prehistoric times, and that's when those Power Rangers came out. And obviously the other ones are teenagers with attitude. That's where they change it. But essentially the fights, they fight the same monsters.
Oh yeah,
They fight the
that's
same
what I'm saying.
villains.
But I'm saying the story,
But
the
whole
footage is going to be
But
the
they-
same.
no,
The fighting
no,
footage.
because that's for us because it's in our place. Obviously they're in Japan.
I'm gonna throw it out there because you guys called me the horror guy. My man's Fred is the Power Ranger guy.
Yeah, I mean, in the sense of
I'm
it.
not questioning what you're saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no,
for
no,
the
I
people who are
understand.
listening, I just want to make it clear to
Yeah,
them
I
that this
understand
is
what you're
not
saying.
just a dub.
No, it's not a dub. I get what you're
that's
saying.
what I'm trying to tell people.
Okay, yeah. No, it's not a dub. But essentially the same monsters, they fight the same monsters, they have the same things. The evil Green Ranger, all that stuff, they kind of go through the same thing. Except for, and I'll tell you this, in the second season of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, that's completely different. All the fight scenes, everything is different. They only did one season of the Power Rangers in Japan, and that's where they copied from the first season. But in the second season, that's completely all their original stories, all their original stuff, and everything. Because the Green Ranger in the Japanese actually dies and is not supposed to go on to another season.
But we're getting into the weeds
Yeah.
now. Let's get back to the movie.
So, what can we say about this movie? Well, you know what? Let me drop a little synopsis in the thing.
Let's let Fred
Drop
drop
some
it
knowledge.
because he is
So,
the Super Sentai expert.
so the way we see this movie come out is they're in their town of Angel Grove. And-
I'm sorry about that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was supposed to be. I believe it's supposed to be named
It's
after
Angel
Los Angeles,
Grove.
Angel Grove. But it's
Yeah,
supposed
it's
to be
I
a
like
take
the-
on LA. Yeah.
yeah,
L.A. and Garden Grove.
and Garden Grove.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it is. And so you go to Angel Grove and you meet your first rambunctious
Oh,
youngster?
he's a rambunctious whippersnapper for
Whippersnapper.
sure. He gets into all kinds of
Oh,
shenanigans and
exactly.
hijinks
And I don't-
tomfoolery.
And has a friend that jerks off a cow.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow, okay.
Well, I was gonna save that for later,
Yeah,
but yeah,
but-
that was
yeah.
that was one of those favorite scenes. But
I missed that part. The first time I saw it in theaters, I walked in and then it was just like, oh, Power Rangers, cool. And then I walk out and then Fred's like, bro, so what about he jerked off a bull? And I was like, yo, is that a fucking what's that one
A
fool
euphemism?
from Turbo? He's the bull. He has a sword.
Oh,
Magna
yeah.
Defender.
The
I was
Magna
like, is that
Defender?
a Magna Defender reference?
I don't think it was, but I would like it to be. But so you meet him, and then he has his incident. I don't want to go into this because
Yeah,
it's
we
pretty
don't want
much
to spend too much time going over
it's
the plot.
pretty much the thing. So he has his incident, then he meets his fellow soon to be Rangers. They all go into the quarry.
It's a breakfast club.
Yeah, it's a breakfast club kind of thing. I mean, I want to save all this for that. I just real super general. They get their coins, then they get their powers, and then they meet their leader Zordon. They fight the villain, and they end it. You know, honestly, this plot is pretty much like an episode of the regular Power Rangers,
Yeah.
except for a little different. But now I want to go into what we all thought about it. Now, since I'm probably gonna have the most weird feelings about this, I want to go last on this one.
Okay.
But go ahead, guys.
Do you guys want to start from Derek and then you guys and I and then Fred?
Yeah, we'll go that.
Sure, yeah.
yeah.
I'll start
All
off.
right.
I really, really like this movie. It was
Fucking better.
was that talking
You're
shit?
better.
But yeah, it is a movie that is clearly made for us, for the kids that grew up with the Power Rangers and now we're older. Because this is a mature movie. Like you can tell right off the bat that it's not like cheesy and like it's not like I'll compare it to like for example Detective Pikachu. That's a movie. While it did have things for us who grew up with Pokemon, it is a movie that is primarily marketed and for kids. We're gonna still enjoy it, obviously, but this movie, it's not a kids movie. It is a movie for older people. It is for young adults to adults.
I feel like the whole bull jerk off thing was immediately
it's just
trying to like throw it out there like, hey,
it's like, hey, this isn't your big brother's Power
just because
Rangers.
we're teenagers with attitude doesn't mean that this movie does not have attitude itself.
Exactly.
Like I feel like they're trying to really deliver that home. But
and
go
it's
ahead.
it's kind of a much more like thoughtful, even paced. Like a lot of these blockbusters that are just like these big reinterpretations of a popular franchise, like the Transformers movies, or even recently the Godzilla movies, which I do enjoy. The Godzilla movies, they are kind of just like these big things. Whereas this one, it's a more thoughtful thing, and it does something that I really like, which is the same thing that the first Godzilla movie does, where it takes its time. You don't really get to see the Ranger battles and all the big fighting monsters and everything until the end of the movie, and that makes it so much better. You have all these moments with these characters, and that's what really drives the film. Is you have like the best scene, in my opinion, is when they're sitting around the campfire and they're all it's just a bunch of people talking about their real problems. That's what makes the movie great, is these characters, not the monster fights. What? The monster fights? Here's the thing. Let me think.
Okay, no.
Because it makes you appreciate the fight at the end so much more when you like have been waiting for it. Like when, because I'm not gonna lie, the Godzilla King of Monsters, I was getting a little tired of monster fights at the end. But
whoa! Hey!
Okay,
I
next time on the podcast.
Next time,
Blasphemy.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Because this one, you're like getting a little bit, and you're not tired of it. Or the Transformers movies. Those movies are all just robots crashing into each other for 3 hours.
Wow! Is that a Transformer?
That was good when he kicked Bumblebee. I did enjoy that.
That's a Transformer.
But so you at the end when it is this big climactic battle, you get the Zords coming out, you get all the kind of cool references. Go Power Rangers! You're like so amped up because you haven't been seeing that this whole movie. You're getting all these great character moments and it's been building and building and building, and then you finally get the payoff. And I think that the payoff is so much more rewarding because they had been building it up instead of just having all these fights dispersed throughout it. But I mean, that's just kind of my first take. I'll talk some more about it. But that's kind of my overall feelings about it. I don't know if you guys want to go into
It's okay, man, if you don't like to have a good time.
Oh, I do. That's why I enjoyed the end of it, and it was great, and I liked the character moments that were leading up to it.
Okay, so I'm the youngest here, and I've never really been into the Power Rangers properties ever. Oh. So I was going into this movie cold.
And that's it for everybody.
Okay, good night, everybody. And that's why you're missing out on life. Hey, who did you wrong in life?
The year he was born did him wrong.
I was born very post 9/11.
Did I let you know that there's been Power Rangers every day? There's Power Rangers out right now.
Bro, you know there's like Ninja Force?
Thank you.
Like the Super Mega Force?
Yeah, the Super Mega Force.
Well, anyways,
There's
so I was
Harry
going
Potter.
into this movie cold, and I did not know what to expect besides Power Rangers.
And it made you hot?
Kind of.
All right.
Well, going back to what Derek was saying is that, I really do appreciate like these characters and seeing them kind of develop because I've never seen these characters before outside of this movie. So seeing them kind of have those moments, and I think they do really work really well. And going back to that campfire scene, seeing them kind of come together, it felt very natural. And obviously this is a much more mature depiction of the Power Rangers. So this isn't really meant for this new generation of kids. This is kind of to rekindle some older Power Rangers fans to come back to watch this movie. And I could see that as a new viewer coming in. But the thing is that while what they tried to do with the relationships is effective, it doesn't really work. So that's because it's a Power Rangers movie, and you go there to see Power Rangers stuff. So,
but you do get that at the end. I feel like it's rewarding to get that payoff after all the build-up.
There is a payoff, to an extent.
Yeah, it is. It's like you wake up in the morning and then you're making breakfast and you realize, oh shit, I'm 20 minutes late to school, so let me run to school, because that's what it felt like in that fight scene at the end. Like they're rushing it in, like, oh shit, what did we forget to put in this movie? Oh yeah, a giant monster and fucking Megazords. Whoops.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, they kind of did, because they woke up in the morning forgetting. They didn't wake up feeling like P. Diddy that morning.
No.
They were supposed to be like on it, but no, go ahead, man.
So while what those things we're doing in terms of the people's relationships and the struggles and the highs and the lows of the plots, those were executed very well. But this is not like an A24 movie. This is a Power Rangers movie, and you go to a Power Rangers movie to see Power Rangers stuff. Yeah,
because an A24 movie, you're gonna fucking wait the whole goddamn movie to see the ghost at the end of the goddamn movie.
Casper
for 2 seconons.
It was Casper.
No, The Witch, Hereditary, Green Room.
So A24,
I can go on for fucking
A24
days.
For people who don't know, is this kind of like they're indie, right? They're pretty indie.
They're indie. They like to sound really badass, and they like to be like, "Oh, hey, watch our movie because it comes at night and all that bullshit." Okay, I'm not gonna like The Witch and Hereditary are good, but other than that, a lot of their other stuff. Never mind. I digress. Keep going, my man.
Well, anyways, I enjoyed it, and at times, the technicality of it, some of the cinematography in the movie was actually surprising to me, because I was like, "Oh, this is actually a pretty creative shot. This is actually shot really well." The use of practical effects, I really appreciated. The overall look and design of the characters were pretty cool. I mean, obviously, they're meant to sell toys. But, other than that, it's like, I guess for me as a regular movie viewer and just watching this as a movie, I did appreciate that added level of it being a movie and character development and characters being fleshed out, even though they're never going to get another movie after this. It was cool seeing them together.
Can I ask you a question real fast then?
Yeah.
So what you're saying, would you say that you think this is a good movie but not what you were expecting from a Power Rangers movie?
Yeah, that's pretty
Okay.
much exactly what I'm saying. Because you go to a Power Rangers movie expecting the trailer. I don't really know. Looking at the trailer as well with that Kanye song. That Kanye song is also used in the movie.
Yeah, although when the Kanye West song came out, though, honestly, fucking hype. I'm gonna be real because they were fighting, but I do understand that was that
trailer was for it sold you on an origin story, but kind of more of like a superhero-esque origin story, and then the fight happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they get their powers, they do that, and then they have. There's a lot more time developing them than I expected, but it was enjoyable to watch. But I wasn't really expecting anything. Me not being a Power Rangers fan, so that I could be based on that subject.
No, all right, let's hear from Ariel, right?
Yeah, so for me, of course, being a '90s kid, I really, really enjoyed it, and especially with the nostalgia elements of this movie, for example, them keeping the fact that they always wear their colors.
I loved that.
Was very awesome, and I caught that really quickly. But yeah, I feel like it's understandable that there's more of elements than how the original story in the 90s was more action packed, and it did have moments of character development, of course, throughout the whole show, but for the most part the 90s show was very action packed. They consistently, of course, they had that classic formula where they would have a battle maybe one after 1/3 of the show, of the episode, and then they would have another fight in their ranger costumes, and then they would jump into the Megazord and then fight the monster, and then or in their Megazords, and then fight the monster, and then Rita Repulsa would make my creature grow, which is also referenced in this movie, of course.
I pumped my fist and shouted when that part happened. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but they kind of made it backwards, where the formula of a classic Power Rangers episode is they get into the Megazords, and then she says, "Make my creature grow," and then they become the Ultra Megazord.
No, it's a Megazord.
Just a Megazord.
Because they get in the Zords, and then they become
Zords.
Zords.
And then they become a
And when shit gets real, then they call it the Ultra Megazord.
Yeah,
They call it Titanus, and they make the Ultra Megazord.
Fucking Pyramidas, Titanus.
Yeah, that's when the Sixth Ranger goes. No, you know what? Because in the original Power Rangers, they went
multiplex.
They got their Megazord, and they got the Dragon Zord, and they made the Dragon Megazord, and then they called out Titanus because it was the Sixth Ranger wasn't enough. Let me get out this big old Brachiosaurus. And then there was another one, and it's now it's the Dragon Megazord. No, the Dragon Ultra Megazord, and it's blah, 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 blah. That's the one I couldn't get at Target because and I know it, and I'm gonna tell you right now outside. All you Target people are buying up those fucking Funko Pops and not letting a guy who wants one get one. Now I gotta pay $60 if I want that bad boy.
He's putting you guys on blast.
I'm putting it on blast right now. They're real brah.
All right. Anyway.
Okay.
Thank you for the Power Rangers lore.
So they kind of flipped the script a little bit with this. Is that where normally they become Megazord when she does grow her creature. In this one, they become Megazord, and then she grows her creature. So
and I liked that because you actually get to see them fight in their own individual swords, which is something you never really got in the cartoon. Or I mean, not a cartoon, the old show.
No, yeah, you did. They used to fight in their
Bro, who the fuck is on this podcast right now?
Yeah, and then they would become.
It was mostly the Megazord, though.
Bro, my man's...
The Megazord was literally the killing punch of the episode.
Yeah. So this
go
is how it rolls.
Go ahead.
There you go.
That's why we're last. Go ahead.
Yeah.
That's why we're bringing up the caboose.
Yeah.
So of course, liking that those classic moments from the show. Yeah, for me it was, of course, I enjoyed it, and it had it's hit or miss with a few of the moments.
I guess I never miss. Huh?
What?
Continue. Please continue.
It had it hit or miss moments with the emotional aspects of it. Such as yeah, but that's pretty much fine.
Okay, so wait, before we continue on to you guys,
please.
since you're the pros of this, can I just ask one simple question?
Acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Okay, so regarding the Japanese and the American,
yes.
Is there that much of a
difference? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Japanese one, they're older people.
And it's also they're Japanese.
Yeah. They're not teenagers and they have less attitude.
There it is. No, yeah. There's no teenagers. They're like. The way you look at it is they come from prehistoric tribes. So all the dinosaurs, that's one thing in the movie they didn't give you any information on. like why one looks like a T-Rex.
No, they said that. They said it in the movie.
Did they?
Yeah, they said because when it came to Earth, they were the most.
The strongest.
Dinosaurs were the most dominant life.
Can we? Was the Black Rangers and Woolly Mammoth like the show?
I don't know. He wasn't.
No.
Because that would have made no sense.
So what was? Because the
there's
Yellow
no Woolly Mammoths around in the dinosaur times.
Yellow Rangers still had
but
a
again,
saber
it's a
tooth.
fucking Power Rangers movie.
No,
yeah,
you know what?
It
It's
sense,
because they wanted
to.
No, they.
So what
the
was
reason,
Yellow Rangers?
No, because they wanted.
Didn't address what
he
it was.
He was like a
It's a T-Rex.
mastodon,
It's like a T-Rex.
centipede.
No, it wasn't mastodon. What it was is they tried to go with this Power Rangers series.
It was generic dinosaur.
Well, no, it was what it was is think of a dinosaur, but think of an alien. So you got dinosaur alien. Because when they turn into a Megazord, the original series doesn't fucking look like whatever the hell that thing looked like.
No, he looks like a fucking giant robot.
Yeah, and then he's got that like middle.
He looks like an alien.
Yeah,
a giant fucking alien kaiju.
So like you have a T-Rex, but it's not really a T-Rex. But then you have a saber tooth, but it's not really a saber tooth. You got that woolly mammoth.
They're not woolly mammoths and saber tooths in the movie, I would think, because
but it's nobody. The Triceratops was like a fucking centipede Triceratops.
Yeah, but you guys get what I'm saying, though, right? Like,
I get it, but I mean, it's still based off the Power Rangers thing. So the Power Rangers had a Triceratops.
But that's why they never said what they were.
No, they just said the strongest. They just said the strongest things on Earth, but it still looks like a fucking alien at the end of the day. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's not. Nobody's debating that.
Yeah. So I mean, they took liberties on stuff. I mean, they took liberties on their costume too. That's not really what
I did like the costumes.
The costumes were nice.
They made them look like what aliens technology would conceivably look like. I thought it was a cool, kind of unique look.
My one thing about that with the suits is that they didn't have their full face mask on. It's understandable because you have these actors that you want to see their faces and stuff like that. But I feel kind of robbed from my 90s kid self. Feels kind of robbed from that because those masks when they had them on were incredible.
I think what it was is they removed the visor, but you never saw them take the helmet off. In the 90s Power Rangers, you would see them grab the helmet, take it off, hold it on the side when they talk, and then they'd go back in action and they shove their helmet back on and they would teleport somewhere. Like there was a little bit more excitement, I guess, when the helmet came off and came on than them just removing a visor on and off. Like they just saw.
Because it has like that battle damage thing. It wasn't until I think Ninja Force, where the visors would open.
Yeah,
I feel like when they were in their Zords, they should have kept their masks on, their visors on.
I think it's because they didn't have them. Okay, well, I'll get to that part right now, and I'll kind of chime in on how I feel about that and why they probably did that. Because I mean, go ahead. Any other thing you wanted to? Is Saban a toy company to begin with?
Or
no, it's a production company.
Yeah. It's a production company.
Yeah. All right. I felt like was there a jab of Transformers?
Yeah.
Kim
yeah.
kicking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so
interestingly, now the Hasbro owns the rights to Power Rangers, which we'll get into more later.
Ironically, at the end of the day,
But I feel like Derek was saying, I feel like they were setting up for sequels. No. And I feel like that's probably why they waited on the action till the end, expecting that they were gonna have sequels that probably would have been more action packed. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
All right, cool. Alan?
Well,
tell him.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I really enjoyed the movie. When I saw it, I got nostalgic and everything like that. But again, everybody here knows me that I'm the kind of guy who loves the spandex costumes. I love the spandex costume and the fireworks whenever they get smacked in the fucking face or in the chest. Yes. So, costume design, weak.
Oh.
I need spandex.
Ooh.
Shots fired.
I need the spandex.
Do you really think that a hyper scientific alien race is going to use spandex?
Super hyper intelligent spandex.
Exactly, intelligent.
Like the spandex fixed to you. Like if you're bulging, the spandex knows how to hide it.
Yeah,
not really, man.
Well, technically, those aliens at the beginning were naked.
Well, because their suits came off. Oh, nice. What about they're not suits because the armor is inside them, so it just kind of forms over them the whole time. They kept saying it's inside you. And I'm like, what? And then just
might as well just paint the costumes onto their skin.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Spandex. Silver Age. Let's go.
Let's do this.
No, but other than that, I loved it. It was a great film. It was fun. Yeah, it was very much of a slow burn kind of type of movie, like Godzilla 2014.
Yep. Which I love.
No, I love it too. I love Godzilla 2014. Just because that movie itself is very akin to the very originals, way back in the day. Just like this one. But at the same time, this movie got a lot of great things right and a lot of things wrong. Like, the whole spirit of, like, when you watch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers when you were a kid is, like, you only got a couple minutes of the story real quick. Hey, Rita's up to her shit again, being ratchet, and then I don't know where...
Or Trin's sister is, like, got turned into a doll, or...
Bulk and Skull, what are they up to?
Or, yeah, Bulk and Skull.
They're up to
Where were they? Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were saving them. They were trying not to put everything in the first one. They were trying to save, like Lord Zed and Tommy and these things. So they weren't trying to just push everything in the first one, which I was really happy about. I was expecting just everything you've ever seen in a Power Rangers movie or a Power Rangers TV show to just be in the first movie, and then like them burn themselves out like they did with the fucking X-Men movies, where they like keep having to reuse the same plots because they used all the good ones already.
Can I say a quick thing about Tommy? Even though he's my favorite. Him and Jason are my favorite.
Everybody's favorite, except for my boy Alan over here. Me and Alan love the Red Ranger,
Red
Jason.
Ranger, baby. Austin St. John. Let's go.
I collect multiples. My top three are.
Boy. Best Power Ranger. Gold Ranger, let's go.
Oh my god. Fuck yeah.
Well, my top three are Tommy Oliver, Jason, and Billy.
Yo, you know why Tommy's the best Ranger? Because he's been on like 7 seasons of the Power Rangers. He still exists as a motherfucking Power Ranger. What happened to Jason? I don't know. Burnt out after...
Top 3, let me tell you right now.
Okay, go ahead. Shoot
it. Red Ranger?
Yes.
Let's get it. Let Ariel get back to it.
So something that it was pretty cool that I actually forgot about Tommy is that his last name is Oliver, and me being a really big Green Arrow fan was very happy.
Oh shit, Tommy Oliver Queen, fucking both green.
No, oh yeah, exactly.
Conspiracy?
But also,
I think not.
Watch the next Watch
if
Mojo.
You don't know. But yeah, that's my only comment. I have to throw in my Green Arrow knowledge.
Yeah.
All right, Alan, what were you saying?
Top 3 Power Rangers. Here we go.
Jason, Red Ranger, Jason Gold Ranger. Mm-hmm. Jason is a normal guy.
Wait,
Top 3.
No. Bro, let me finish.
Oh, okay.
So Jason Scott Lee, Red Ranger. My name is Power Ranger.
Okay.
Jason Scott Lee again, my boy. Gold Ranger, Zeo.
Got him.
Right. You got it.
Austin St. John, gay porn star.
He's not, though. He was like a firefighter, dude.
He's a firefighter. No,
not a firefighter, like an EMT.
EMT, no, but there's a massive fucking rumor that because he looks a lot like a gay porn star, and there's so many fucking rumors back in the day where they're just like, my man's left Power Rangers.
Listen, I wanna apologize for.
No, it's cool.
Any of his comments he just made right now.
No, Austin St. John, you're my favorite. I love you. You're fantastic. He gets it. He's heard it all the time at conventions. But I love you, man.
Has he?
Best Red Ranger. Yeah, no, yeah.
He's the best. We this
talked
is
to him the other
established.
day. We're homies.
Oh.
He put a restraining order on me, but he's like, "Yo,
that one makes sense."
I was about to say that you guys made a video together.
That makes sense.
Oh yeah, dude, it was fucking dope. It was pretty dope.
You guys are going. Wow,
I can put the link down.
No,
it's called. I don't want to say what site it is.
Can we not? Can we just?
Let's get back.
Can we just? Yeah. Can we get back to what the truth?
Anyway.
But anyways, no. But anyways, I digress. Go back to the whole point. No, I love this movie. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
I apologize.
For me, the slow burn part was cool, but at the same time, I grew up with it. And, I grew up watching. Me and Fred. I'd be at his pad and we'd watch Power Rangers in the afternoon, and you look forward to that like hype moment where the story real quick. Hey, there's a fucking upside down jack-o'-lantern fucking shit up in Angel Grove. All right, we need the Power Rangers to fuck it up. Boom, get out there. And a little.
And that's why I asked the question. Is there really a big difference between the Japanese version of Power Rangers and the American? Is because I think
it's very serialized. Yeah, it's very serialized.
Yeah,
where, like every episode.
Well, I mean, like it's like
it's a monster of the week.
If you look at it, every Power Ranger show, there's a formula to Super Sentai, which is what the Power Rangers are. You're gonna have your Rangers. You're gonna have the villain they're gonna fight. They're going to live life regular sometimes. I mean, more now than some of them. They're going to meet that monster. They're not going to be able to defeat the monster. Or if they have to find some way to overcome it, they overcome it. They defeat it when he's small. Rita or whatever villain you're going to have comes out and says, I'm going to make this grow. They make it grow. The Megazord comes out. And then you end the story on a happy note. And, that's kind of...
Exactly, and it's a lovely formula, especially for kids, because at least kids, it kind of tells kids that, like, hey, you're not gonna win right off the bat.
But this was not for kids. This was for people who have already enjoyed it. I mean, that's how I feel.
But I feel like the thing about this film though is that it goes into again, we're not 90s kids. We're in a day and age now where like a lot of story or a lot of cartoons and stuff like that, animated series are very story driven. Where like kids can't understand it. Back then, we were fucking dumb. Like for us back in the day, we were just like used to being like, okay, we see Power Rangers, we see Batman the animated series, we see Superman the animated series, Spider-Man, X-Men, all that stuff. A lot of the episodes, like I've been rewatching a lot of those stuff lately, and it's a lot of like, hey, let's get the main story out of the fucking way in the first 5 to 6 minutes because we know what kids want. They want action. Nowadays, the kids want story-driven episodes and stuff, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just time changes.
But going back to what Derek was saying about like the story and everything, how it is very story-driven and character-driven, and their relationships with each other, that does work for a movie, and in this movie, it worked really well. But like you're saying, what people want to see from a Power Rangers movie, they expect. Get the story out of the way. They get their powers, whatever. Get that all out of the way. We've already heard that before. Just retell it. It's like Batman, you know. We don't need to hear his origin story like over and over again. We just kind of get that out of the way so we can move on to the cool stuff. And that's what I was expecting, at least from a Power Ranger movie.
No, yeah, I was expecting that too. I mean, I was expecting them to like get their powers and stuff, and then Zordon told them, "Hey, you got your powers. Here you go." Joe Chill's gonna kill the Waynes in a couple minutes. He's gonna kill the Waynes, and then you guys are gonna fight the monster. Popcorn, pearl necklace on the floor. Boom.
I mean, I believe that if they did go with that formula and rather than
killing
what
the
they
Waynes,
did, oh, that too. get the story out of the way and just focus on the action. It probably would have been a little bit more successful, but we'll talk about that when we talk about why we think this movie's underrated.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I feel like it probably would have been a lot better because I rewatched it again, and I remember my biggest gripe was like, man, for a 2-hour movie, I would have liked a little bit more. Because when you see them in the suits, it's so satisfying. You see them fucking shit up. They fuck up. Oh, no. Okay. Another thing that bothered me about this movie.
Goldar?
I loved it.
Oh.
No, Goldar was...
Goldar was tight.
Nah. I needed the, like, fucking...
Nah, because you didn't even get to tell it was like...
He didn't even talk. Like, he didn't have his weird Griffin
He didn't even have a face.
Maybe I just thought Rita was so fucking tight that I didn't even
But
care.
Elizabeth Banks is hot and awesome.
And there was like honestly like horror scenes. Like anytime she'd come and she'd like murder somebody, it was like shot like a horror movie.
Oh yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
No, I loved it, and I liked that part of it.
Oh, speaking of Rita, like this film really made me remember how like Elizabeth Banks is kind of sort of an underrated actress too, because like
she's wonderful.
She can really morph herself into like a bunch of different types of characters. You know, from her like more like preppy like reporter in like Pitch Perfect to this with like being you know, this crazed like mad woman, and then also like Brightburn. You know, where she's kind of like this very concerned mother and stuff like that. And also Brightburn's, her husband and from Brightburn is Jason's dad in this too.
Oh, the guy who I always think of him as the blue collar James Marsden, because he's always getting his girlfriend stolen, just like James Marsden is.
Like in Taken?
So you mean James Marsden?
Yeah, like James Marsden's the white collar version of Jason's dad in this, because he's what's his name, Roy from The Office. And then he's also the same kind of character in Big Fish.
Nobody watches The Office. But anyways,
literally everybody watches The Office.
Garbage show. But
you have just lost us all of our listenership. But continue.
Sweet, fuck that. The Office is fucking dumb. I hate that
great.
show.
The British one or the American?
Well, okay, guys, we're going down the rabbit hole. Let's get back to Power Rangers.
Ass. But shit, made me lose my train of thought because I was so enraged. Nah, damn it! I had a fucking point.
You were saying about how
go ahead.
How something griped you wrong.
Yeah, we started talking about Goldar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Goldar. Yeah. What is this Griffith form? I love the Griffith form. It's so fucking dope.
Where's Scorpina?
Griffin form.
Where's Scorpina? Where's
she has the fucking the little thing. Yes,
yeah.
Exactly. I think she was gonna be in the sequel. I bet they were gonna put her in the
sequel.
Where's
Finster? Making the monsters, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
Where's the putties at?
Where's the
putties were in the movie? What
they were in it.
No, they were the rock guys. Where's Babu?
Yeah, they were the rock.
Where's Babu?
Yeah,
but they weren't.
Something I kind of missed was the
all the side
weirdness
characters
and like over the topness of the putties.
Right.
Yeah, I needed the like that putty shit.
With the Z on the chest, that when you punch them, they explode.
He did say he did say hit him in the chest.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking.
He did say
that was a reference to this.
It was a reference to it, but I was like, no, I need the Z. I need the Z.
That's because what's his name? Zord, not Zord. Lord Zed hasn't showed up.
Yeah,
yet.
that's
No,
why.
I know, I get that.
The
No.
putties didn't have Z's before
I'm
that.
I'm
Exactly.
messing. But the thing is, I'm a guy who loves like the cheesiness of like the stuff like that. I love like Silver Age stuff or like spandex and very simple fucking powers where they're like, hey, punch them in the chest and they die. Boom, punch them.
But
And
this
it makes
is edgy.
that hard metal sound. But other than that, like I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. It was a lot of fun. A lot of it was great. It was great to see the cameos of Tom
Jason
David
Oliver
Frank
and
and,
the Pink Ranger,
Yeah.
Kimberly. I forget their real names.
Jason
At the
David
moment.
Frank.
Oh yeah, Jason David Frank and oh god, what's her name?
Yeah, I lost that one.
You're stunning, you're beautiful, Kimberly.
Amy Jo Johnson.
Amy Jo
Andrew-
Johnson. Yes,
there
thank
you
you.
go, thank
Anyway.
It was on the tip of my tongue.
Wonderful. It was great to see them. I mean, still, my boy also say John should have been there.
Nah, because
Yeah.
it's the Green Ranger. That was that one. That's
That's
the reason why Power Rangers kept going.
But yeah,
Sorry. But nonetheless, I thought it was fun. Yeah, it was a bit of a slow burn. I can see why. A lot of like it didn't make as much money as it should have, because when people think of a Power Ranger movie, I mean, Power Rangers is still going on to this day.
To the
When
day.
to the day. But anyways, like when the kids like Fred's kids, I bet Fred's kids
Yeah, they're watching it right
watch
now.
Power Rangers.
Right now it's Beast Morphers.
Beast Morphers, nice.
I believe it's what it is. Yeah.
When they see it, oh yeah, they look like a badass bicyclists.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I think I haven't watched this series yet. I
I've only
recorded
seen-
it.
I've
I got
only
it all
seen, like,
recorded.
parts of it, but yeah, like you watch it, like especially the kids when they go watch it, they're like, oh, I want to see action, I want to see a bit of story, I want to see the flamboyance. And the thing is, I've always been a fan of the flamboyance of like the suits, the aura, the like almost godliness of like the Rangers, even with like superheroes as well, like Marvel superheroes back in the 60s and superheroes in DC in the 60s, like they had that spandex, they had that like aura, they had that persona. So I think that's what maybe might have been a little bit of the downfall of it, because when you see it, the suits are great, but they're so modernized. They look like armor, and I know it's funny to say, but they're logical. Obviously, they're logical suits. They should have armor kind of type suits. But when you look at the other Power Rangers, spandex, stuff like that, the helmet is probably maybe enough to protect you from a punch, but a lightning bolt or whatever, it's gonna fuck you up. But people, I feel like maybe the reason why it didn't succeed as much as it did is because of the flamboyance. The flamboyance wasn't there. The latex, the fireworks.
Well, we'll get into that more into when we'll talk about why we think it didn't work in the future. But
yeah, other than that, I loved it. It was fantastic. It was nostalgic. I'll put it on. It's on Amazon Prime. I'll rewatch it all the time just because it's nice to see this kind of version. I've always been a big fan of like alternate versions of things I loved before, and seeing somebody else's interpretation. But now it's time to move on.
Hold me back.
My man's.
Hold me back.
Spit fire.
Hold me back. I've been silent this whole
Can
time.
we just say that currently Fred has Ray-Bans on, is looking cool as fuck.
Hold me back. Thank you. Hold me back right now.
I said my man's.
Spit some fire.
Thank you. And welcome to the Church of the Power Rangers. Let me school y'all right now on some. Can I get an amen from everybody right now?
Amen.
Ay.
Thank you. Okay, so here's the thing. If you take this movie and its core value as another retelling of Power Rangers, and I'm talking about because you watch Turbo, you see Zeo, you had Mystic Force, you had Jungle Fury, you've had all these other series. If you just take this one as a different retelling, as if it's not the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers that you watched back in the 90s, then you're probably not going to feel that bad. You're going to look at it and take it as it is. But now, it has a moniker of the Power Rangers. It has the same thing. It's got Zord on. It's got Rita. It's got all these people. It's going to make you think back to the other Power Rangers. Now, I think they did it right when they made the movie back in 95 with Ivan News, and they could have just stopped there. You know, when you make a classic like that, why the fuck are you going to make another one?
White Falcon Zord, right?
That White Falcon Zord, baby. Like, in the sense of, this was a good movie. This had the right thing. It had the teenagers. It had the stuff. It made it a little bit more modernized, a little bit more modern times. You know, but it also felt like it was trying to hit a lot of stuff. I mean, maybe I could be wrong, but it felt like, hey, you had Becky G being a lesbian. You had the kid being autistic. You had the football player that went bad was coming good because he was all rambunctious, and the Asian kid with his mom being sick or something. It seemed like everybody had some crazy issue than just teenagers with attitudes. Now
it was more like a Breakfast Club.
Yes,
it is. I do like they did touch on real issues that teenagers went through.
But that's the thing. Like, if you're gonna make the Breakfast Club, make the Breakfast Club. If you're gonna make a Power Rangers movie, the thing is, you already have a template and how the Power Rangers movie is done, and that's why I agreed with Sergio right here. It's got in its core value, it's still a Power Rangers movie. Now, I'm not saying you can't have those things in the background or have that as an issue for them, because they should have issues. Billy was bullied, I believe, if I wasn't mistaken. Like, he was a little geeky and stuff, and everybody
was bullied for being autistic.
No,
and
not
how the fuck, like. God,
no, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's pretty rough. Like, it hits hard. One thing would be like, maybe he's autistic and he's having some troubles, but they hit you hard now.
And then I want to also mention, which because you all mentioned all those the cyberbullying that kind of
and the nudes, and all. And, like I said, it's
the shit that kids have to
do
these days.
It is in my high school.
It is, and I get it. And at the time, and like I said, they're trying to pull some forward, because what the Power Rangers always does is it does have topics. There have always been issues, even when you watch the series, where something bad happens and they kind of give you a lesson, like, hey, don't be mean to people and all this stuff. And it's happening even in the series. If you watch the Power Rangers show now when you're older, you get a lot more out of it than maybe you would understand as a kid. Because obviously as a little kid, you're just going to see the explosions, you're going to see the Megazords, but almost every series has a little bit of like, be good to each other and be cool. And another issue I had was, I like the fact that Zordon was a Red Ranger, but they also take away with, like, Zordon was a mentor, right? In the original series. He was their mentor. He was the guy they looked up to. Zordon in this movie was a fucking dick.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, but like the thing is, you're looking at
kind of like that too.
He grew as a character too.
But
he grew into a mentor role.
Even like to the point where it was only like one turn of like, oh, like if Billy didn't like die, that he probably would have come back.
Yeah, that was the issue that I had.
And it's understandable that he like wanted to just get rid of Rita Repulsa, but he kind of like it is kind of like grounded in realism of basically, like, that's how a person in this kind of desperate situation would react to, like, okay, he gave them a chance, but it seems like it's not working, that, okay, you have to do it in a different way. But, yeah, it was kind of like that. It wasn't the Zordon that,
exactly.
That was that mentor.
Exactly, because Zordon is a mentor. Zordon's supposed to teach these kids how to be Power Rangers. And that's what he was trying to do. But it seemed like the whole time he had an ulterior motive, that there was never to really help these kids. These kids were just a means to an end. And
they address that in the movie.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, that's not okay, because at the end of the day, you've got to understand, Power Rangers is not a show for us. Power Rangers is a show for children first, but it can be for everybody, right? But the demographic that it's always going to hit is a younger generation, because if not, why make it PG-13? Why not make it R and give us the Power Rangers that we deserve instead of children? No, let's be real. Because Power Rangers is a kid show.
But if we do get an R-rated fucking Power Rangers movie, we're going to get gray and black Power Rangers. We're not going to get the gorgeous, lovely primary colors.
Yeah, I think PG-13 was a perfect rating for a movie that is for the kids that grew up. Well, I don't think you need to go full on and make it
but here's the problem.
Because
here's the problem. If you're going to go with the kids that grew up in the 90s, we're not kids.
Yeah.
We are not kids.
We don't need to see an R Power Rangers movie, though.
But now what I'm saying is, you're saying for the kids that grew up, the kids that saw the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
Yeah.
That's us. Like, we're not kids. Okay. We're grown-ass people.
But at the same time, that's not what Power Rangers was.
Exactly.
But doing that, what you're saying, making basically an edgy Power Rangers movie.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're 1 foot away from being an edgy Power Ranger movie at this point.
That's true.
And that's what I'm saying.
Consider this movie already to be an edgy Power Rangers movie.
They don't need to go further.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But you didn't have to go that far. Like, there's what I'm saying is, you deviated a little bit from the Power Rangers. That's why I was agreeing with him. You deviated a little bit from the Power Ranger stuff, to make a movie. Now, obviously, this movie is going to hit more people in different ways, because everybody that loved The Breakfast Club is going to look at this movie and be like, wow, this is a great movie right off the bat, because
it's a superhero Breakfast Club.
Because everybody goes, it's a superhero Breakfast Club. Oh my God. But is it a Power Rangers movie?
Honestly, I'm not the biggest Breakfast Club fan. I think there's a better version of that with superheroes, obviously.
Yeah, but still, I agree with what Alan was saying. Like, yeah, like, we're going to, like, making a rated R Power Rangers movie, that's a whole separate debate. It's going to get rid of that what they're known for.
What I'm trying to say is, yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm trying to say is, if we're going to push the edge too far, what's stopping them from making a novel?
Just watch the fan film with James Vanderbeek if you want to see it.
I have seen it already. I already saw it.
That was awesome.
Right? Mm-hmm. You're saying basically maybe it should have been PG. Maybe
it could have been a PG. It could have been PG. It didn't. Okay,
Not
like for younger
more
obviously, like I'm saying, for younger kids, Power Rangers is for younger kids. It's not for us anymore. We enjoy it, but the stories that are in there are for younger kids.
Okay, but bottom line is younger kids will probably not going to enjoy this movie.
Not this movie, but when we were kids, like I said, they made a movie in '95 of the Power Rangers. They made Turbo, and kids enjoyed those movies.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I think kids will probably not like this movie.
Kids would not enjoy this.
And that's what I'm saying.
And it's not a kids movie, like I was saying at the beginning.
I think they would. I think because nowadays there's so many kids
like
Z generation,
like super boring. No, I'm Z generation.
Well, I mean, I guess
you mean younger. So like
younger than you, and like because it's like they're trying to fit like millennials and like now post Z generation.
But this is like,
but the thing is, you have to realize
the issues that they do talk about though are not fit for this generation. No. It's fit. It feels like it's more fit for like
a 17-year-old,
the millennium.
I feel like. Also, that this movie isn't geared specifically towards children. It's more specifically geared toward like teenagers. Like,
and I get it. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a teenage movie, right? You're 13 to get in, but you're talking about jacking off a cow. You're talking about
teenagers think that's hilarious.
But how do they not see that?
That's true. Teenagers are going to think that's hilarious.
But what I'm saying is that what the Power Rangers are about?
No,
this is a Power Rangers.
One joke that I thought was a little.
I know. I thought it was funny. I thought the joke was hilarious. Like I thought this movie is good, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I think the movie's good. No. I think this is a good movie. But also being such a fan, I'm going to nitpick it way more than you guys.
Oh, yeah,
because there's issues that are like, we're talking about a Power Rangers movie. It would be like changing Batman's things to something else. Like Batman's
I get what you mean. It's like making the 60s Batman, trying to remake
and
that
he shoots
campiness.
People. And he shoots people all over the place.
No, it's like trying to make the campiness of like the 60s Adam West one. Where like instead of just being like, oh, he does the weird little fucking dance from the 60s movie, to him being like, hey, I jerked off a bull, young ward.
Yeah. That's what I think the difference is between like reinterpretation or a bastardization is when you go against what that, because there's certain rules you have to follow, and if you break those rules, then it's not even the Power Rangers anymore, and that's basically all I have to say about that.
Yeah, like, I mean, they still had, like I said, they still made a good movie. I just think that there were a few things where, it's tit for tat. Everyone's going to see it differently. But some of the big issues I had, we went way more for the story of how these kids get together, how these kids find the coins, how these kids are going to be friends again, how these kids go through their stuff. I get it. But that was the big chunk of the movie. And then Rita Repulsa in the background's killing people, doing all her stuff. That's all good. That's all good. I'm all okay with that. But at the same time, I'm not. Because I wanted to see them maybe... The training montage was cool, but they never get their suit almost ever throughout the whole thing. That one time Billy gets a suit.
That was a big bother for me,
That was a big bother, because I would have preferred them to have their suit. They didn't have to go out. They could have still had their moments. You get what I'm saying? But there could have been bonding moments during their training, bonding moments when they're in their suit, bonding moments while they went to go fight the putties the first time and lost. Like there's extra stuff that we could have seen a little bit more. They could have still had those moments, but instead... We don't get it till the very end where they go, we finally understand what it is. We get our powers. We get them running through, just destroying putties as they're running through to get their Megazord, to then rush the Megazord in to be like, oh, Goldar's a giant now, guys. Fight Goldar, and then it's over.
Yeah, I feel like that going back to like what I said earlier about how I feel like they were expecting to have a sequel already when they filmed this, because of course it's like Power Rangers. Who's not going to want a sequel to Power Rangers? So they might have done that, and they might have fell into that origin, kind of like they're telling the origin story of things. But still, in the majority of the origin stories that have been depicted on screen, it does happen a bit faster than that. I felt like the development of the characters' companionship, kind of like what it did take, like there were moments where it took a one step forward and then like 2 steps back situations.
I don't agree with that. I'm sorry.
No, it did. I exactly feel that. There were moments when they were like near before the campfire, like we're all gonna get together, and then, oh no, I don't want to chill with you guys because something or other, or I'm a lesbian, and then
like for example, like the montage of them fighting, and then that was a whole camaraderie like situation of like with
because it takes
Trin
time.
and Trin and
yeah,
Kimberly.
but normally, like I said, normally in a Power Rangers thing, that camaraderie with that fight, the picking them up and helping them up, and you see them do that, is how they start to build their friendship. Not all of a sudden right after that be like, well, F it, I'm not going to talk to you guys because we're at a fire, and then someone says one thing and doesn't want to say another thing, and then we'll see you later, and then all of a sudden Rita comes and gets me, and it's like, now we're gonna be friends again. It's a little pushed.
Do you guys think you guys are nitpicking a little? Would you say?
Not this time, but I feel like that was one thing that I kind of got frustrated.
But you guys did overall like it, right?
Oh yeah.
No, I'm not saying it's not a wrong movie.
Because I do feel like this is a very good movie that has a bad reputation, and we've talked a lot about the things we didn't like.
No, but because that's why it has a bad reputation. Because like for somebody who follows Power Ranger fandom a lot, there's going to be people that are going to be way more passionate and way more talkative than I am. And we're the ones who went to go watch that movie.
Well, that's the thing. I think we should talk up the good things we like about it because it
has this reputation. And that's the thing. But at this point, I mean, it is. I'm gonna say my piece, and my piece is these things are wrong with it. And I'll give a piece of what's good, but honestly, like like I said, overall, it's a good movie. But there's things that are wrong with it. I'm gonna say what's wrong with it.
I'm not saying don't ignore all the faults, but I'm just saying this is the podcast about like movies we think are underrated. But we're all the premise.
I know, but we're all gonna go around, and then when we defend the movie, right, which is the next one, we'll defend it.
And those things, it's overall a good movie, but it's those little things that I feel do contribute any movie to be underrated, because it's a lot of those things because if those problems weren't there, then it would be known as a great movie.
Exactly.
And this is just known as it's an underrated movie, which means it's good. It just didn't get the recognition it deserved. But at the same time, there is some problems with the movie.
Yeah.
And also, I'm sorry, if you notice too, all our problems, quotation marks, everybody has a specific issue with the movie, but at the end of the day, we all like it.
Yeah.
Whether it be like character development. Yeah.
I just want to make clear to the audience that we do like it.
But that's why before we close up, we'll go around.
Yeah. I want a sequel to this movie. I still would hold out hope that even though especially with Naomi Scott becoming Jasmine and kind of gaining more recognition, it might not be possible anymore.
Oh no, that ain't gonna happen anymore. Yeah, Hasbro took over.
Well, actually, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But overall, I would still I would have still loved a sequel to this movie, and I wanted a sequel to this movie. Walking out of it, and even watching it, the other day, rewatching it, it's just the moment of, it's kind of I missed opportunity to continue the story.
Yeah.
We mentioned that. Okay, so it looked like originally it wasn't going to get a sequel because it just didn't make enough money. Then Hasbro bought the rights to it, and there was a lot of reports that came out that they were developing it as a sequel. That hasn't been confirmed. We don't know if it's going to be a sequel or a reboot, but a lot of reports have said that they're working on a sequel.
So what I've seen from the fan sites, what ended up happening was Bandai and Saban are two parts of the same coin, let's just say. They're not the same company, but they help each other out. So Bandai makes the toys a lot of the time for the Power Ranger stuff, and then Saban was taking care of the TV show stuff. Originally, Hasbro was just going to buy the toy stuff. So they were going to just make the toys. Saban ended up selling Power Rangers. So now Hasbro owns the rights to the TV shows. That means the movies and everything, plus the toys. From what I've heard is they might go through with another one, a new one. Probably not with any of these guys, and probably not with any of these costumes or the stuff.
For example, IGN, when the news broke that Hasbro got it, they said that Hasbro is working with Paramount on a sequel to this. They said specifically that wasn't verified that it was a sequel, but that's the reports that came out of IGN, which is a pretty reputable site. And a few other sites kind of said the same thing.
We have to also remember that was this just produced by Elizabeth Banks, or was this written by Elizabeth Banks?
I don't think she wrote it.
No, she didn't write it.
So it was just produced.
Damn,
by
if
her.
She fucking wrote it. I would have been
No, they had 3 or 4 different writers.
I would have never expected her to be such a big Power Rangers fan.
Yeah, no. Oddly enough, Bryan Cranston was the voice of monsters in the Power Rangers.
Oh yeah, that's why Billy's name was Billy Cranston.
Yeah. That's why he came into the movie.
Yeah, but we'll see. It might get a sequel. Hopefully, it gets a sequel and it doesn't get rebooted. I would really like to see that
because it's been a while.
It's been 2 years. We're getting a fucking sequel to Ghostbusters next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? That's a special case because that's the son of the original guy.
They start filming in the next year, so we could have a sequel coming out by 2021.
But it's also a matter of if people want to see it, and that's leads into the box office numbers as well.
Exactly.
It didn't bomb. It did okay.
Didn't bomb. Yeah,
it did okay where it still could have conceivably got a sequel.
But yeah, I mean,
okay. Here's a sequel talk. Well, let's just go with sequel talk because you guys said you guys didn't want to blow your load and stuff. Okay, so Rita Repulsa in the original series, right? This is where it's at. She was the bad guy, right? And she sends out another Ranger as a bad guy. That's your Green Ranger, right? That's how his origin story is. He's a bad guy, and he's a little bit more meaner than everybody else, and then he ends up becoming a good guy. In this one, Rita Repulsa is your Green Ranger and Rita. She takes both roles. Okay, so she has the Dragon Coin on her thing, and then we just shot her to outer space or whatever.
So, well, I mean, she'll probably come back.
I know, but what I'm saying is like, are you going to rehash again the evil Green Ranger story?
Yeah, you'll do the Green Ranger story as the sequel.
You don't have to though, because that's what
I know.
love.
But what I'm saying, but
people love the.
But why did you? But what I'm saying is, why did you have to make her the like kind of like she was a Green Ranger too? And
it's
I'm like,
that modern twist though. If you notice, a lot of movies nowadays.
I guess, but you know what? You're rehashing the same stuff over and over again, and there's times where it's okay to rehash. I know, so it's okay to rehash certain things and give certain lores, but then it's not okay to rehash and certain lores on other things. Like that's where I'm going with. Like, so we nitpick one, but we don't nitpick the other?
I agree with you. I mean, the thing is that because it's so, like, mainstream, okay, you can't tell me they're going to make another movie.
No, they have. No, what I'm saying is.
The Green Ranger.
What I'm saying is the Green Ranger's going to be there. And I almost 100% know they're gonna do the Green with Envy stuff.
We've seen that once.
Because
that's Batman's Parents, where we've seen it over and over and over. We've seen it one time before, 20 years ago.
Because it's good. You see.
Again, how many times have you seen Bruce Wayne?
Exactly, we've seen that so many times.
I get it. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, could we have not done this a little smarter in this movie, done it a little differently? So that way, it would be the first time that you would see it.
But that's the twist of it, is that Rita Repulsa herself was the Green Ranger. Instead of it. It's a modernization. Yeah, it's a twist on a tale that we've all known.
And we don't really see a full powered, Green Ranger
she never gets
in
the
a
armor
suit.
or anything.
She has the armor in the beginning of the movie.
It's just a part of her backstory.
No, she has the armor in the beginning of the movie when you see the little prequel.
Yeah, just for the beginning. It's just a part of her backstory.
Like I said, it's some of these nitpicks might come with me because I'm a little bit more passionate than everybody else, obviously. And I get it, but I'm also seeing it from a different lens.
You know what it was? It was like, we're setting this stuff up to do in the sequel. We're setting up that she has the green power. We're setting up that she used to be the Green Ranger. It didn't really affect this movie too much.
The problem was
in the sequel.
We just forget.
I think we're just gonna have to agree to disagree with that one.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's.
But so overall, like, what are the positive things that we?
Now, what are the positives? Because again, this is the Underrated Podcast. And we love these movies for a reason, not because we nitpick the fucking shit out of them.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? But we've done that. Like, here's the thing: we've done that with every movie.
No, I know.
We've done that with every movie.
But let's go into the greenery of the films.
So for me, it was of course they kept to where their origins were from, and with the whole like subtle elements that they kept with these characters and the essence of each character in some way or another, like Jason being from the start kind of like the person who would defend like the underdog or the person who is in trouble or being bullied in this case. And that gave us like one of the best lines of like, did you just slap him? Yeah, that was weird. Like I enjoyed that.
I liked the callback to it later too. Yeah,
and then the callback to it later too. But and then of course like I said before with the colors and stuff like that. So that they definitely knew the audience that they were going for was that these people who are coming back to it and maybe not really like to grab a new audience per se, but I feel like they went a good way, and I said I would love to see a sequel to this, or hopefully another reimagining of it, and of course, and then the visualization of it and like kind of bringing it to a different style. Like there was a lot of surrealism elements to some of the cinematography, and like I really liked that, and then. So like for me, like after watching this like second time, I'm kind of like more sad that I'm possibly not gonna have more of it.
Yeah. Obviously, I think I probably liked the movie more than anybody else here. I mean, not that you guys didn't like it, but I didn't. There wasn't things really that bothered me as much about it as you guys were. I think.
Well, for me, it's not a bother.
No. Here's the thing. This is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Like, and I love this movie probably more than anybody here. But because I love it so much, I can also objectively see what I found
I'm
wrong
just
with
saying
it.
I didn't have the same problems
same
with it that you guys
with
did.
like the triumphant film that it is, Batman v Superman. I mean, I love it so much. I see its flaws, but at the same time, I appreciate it for what it is, which is perfection. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Like for me too, like I would die for Green Arrow and the Arrowverse in the show, but I still have my small things that are, of course, recognize they're wrong.
Yeah, but for me, there wasn't the little things didn't really like. I didn't see them as problems. What were you thinking, Sergio?
Let's talk about what Alan just said for the next half hour. No. But anyways, what I like about it, like I said before, just the technical aspects of it, I really do appreciate the use of practical effects as well as CGI. The set design in terms of like the cave and where they train and
Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, and I do like that it was in a small city instead of just seeing like these big buildings knocked down. And stuff like
I think
every other
the
movie.
fact of having it in a small city did help world building kind of. You have their house, and then you have like the small city skyscrapers, and then you have the quarry where the stones are, the Infinity Stones, the discs,
the Zeo crystals.
Discs,
No,
the
they didn't
Chaos
morph.
Emeralds. But yeah, that's just like a little bit. Yeah, you can tell that whoever was in charge of this movie does care. Yeah, they do care about what they were working on, and you could see that. And that's movies I love is when what Fred was saying. Yes, there's a lot of problems with this movie, but he's saying that out of a place of love. He's not nitpicking. We're not nitpicking. It's because we do love this movie. Otherwise, we wouldn't even be talking about it on this podcast.
Right.
It's also loving the original art.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah,
where it comes from.
Yeah,
and again, even then, like imagine a Japanese person coming to the States and they're watching Power Rangers back in 1993, and they're like, "What the fuck is this?
Yeah,
this is Super Sentai."
And we
just like, even they go into their own detail. This is us nitpicking something that we grew up with. But yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, we want this property to be preserved in only good product, in only good art.
Exactly, because that's how much you love it.
Yeah. So going back to what I like about it, besides the technical aspects of it, just like the characters, I felt like they really do work well, and it's rare to see that kind of relationship, especially in movies like that, work well. And while that did take some time away from a lot of the action, it does work. And yeah, it does take a lot of time away from the action. That's very unfortunate, but it does feel satisfying, and there is a gigantic build up to it. So it does feel very satisfying when it happens. Yeah, I just wish there were more of it. It was very creative seeing the kind of life that they were living, and then they kind of use that to become Power Rangers. So that's new, I guess, in terms of Power Rangers, right? Sort of?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was interesting to see.
Yeah.
Then, himself. What is your favorite part of it?
So, the costume detail that they have in it. Now, I know you said the costumes weren't, you wanted spandex, but the detail in the costumes that they had was amazing. And they were nice costumes. I never harped on the costumes.
So, me going to Comic-Con, I actually got to see up close the helmets for sure. The year before this came out, and they were amazing. Oh yeah, fantastic.
They're super detailed,
super practical.
The costumes are almost very
super. Don't get me wrong. The thing is, they're wonderful costumes, but the thing is, I'm just a dude who loves Silver Age, cheesy spandex helmets, flamboyance. That's my thing. But go on.
Yeah, that was good. The way they came together, they got together. I don't hate that. That was all perfect. They did the right thing. They bonded the right way. I just wish they would have bonded sooner. Maybe got that out of the way. There was one issue though with the costumes and everything that I had that nobody ever brought up is they never morphed. That was one big thing. People morphed. No. They transformed. They transformed. They never morphed. And a lot of the time, the first time, sometimes maybe you won't see them morph. But I was hoping they demorph and then remorph again, and you could actually see it. Because here's the thing: in the toy line, there's an actual morpher that they sell that you're supposed to morph into.
When I used to work at Barnes and Noble with the lads here, so I used to see it all the fucking time, and every time I saw it, I was like, I never saw that in the movie.
Oh, you mean like showing off the crystals?
Yeah,
the fucking morphing.
Yeah, the morphing sequence.
Okay, I understand.
So they transformed, and I get it. The first time, sometimes people transform, and that's fine. But It was never a morphing sequence. That was the one thing that I missed.
We got the classic line of "It's morphing time."
Yeah.
But
did they morph?
Yeah, I mean not because Zordon
Okay.
kind of like alluded that they could after this first transformation.
I would hope
they could morph after. Like
I would hope
but
that
yeah,
it
we
was,
didn't
but
get
we
that.
never got that. I mean, maybe it got cut out. Maybe it was in there. Maybe not. I don't know. But we never got that. But other than
Either
that,
way.
I digress on that point. I was just saying, but with the costumes, they're so detailed. They're so nice. You know, the way they made Rita was a little bit more exciting than the old Rita. You know, coming down.
I still like the old Rita, but okay.
No, I like the old Rita. I'm just saying it's just exciting to see her move around more. Before she used to ride a little tricycle, like in Find the Air in Japan.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but like we said, like there were things that were alluded that were going to be set up.
I hope they were. I hope they were.
I think.
But
I hope they were. And then the way you had like I was saying, like Goldar, the transformation was cool. You know, they dropped the Zords into the Zeo crystal. And then they transformed. That was cool. I like the way they changed the Zeo crystal because the Zeo crystal was never part of the Earth or anything like that.
No,
They went
like that.
Yeah, it was
actual crystal.
like it was actual crystals, like in
whatever.
like where Zordon was,
And
like
they would,
in the
stab it into like the
no, but I'm saying like
cockpit
the
of
Zeo
Zord.
crystals were like under Zordon's base when they transformed in Zeo, because the top base blows up, they got the bottom base, and they pull out the Zeo crystals. But I'm saying it's cool that they put it. You know, the power of Zeo is there. You know, so it kind of alludes to maybe Zeo Rangers. Because what I was really thinking, honestly, was maybe the second one would be them being Zeo Rangers instead of Power Rangers.
yeah,
Oh,
That's what I was thinking.
Fuck it down and then end it with Turbo.
Yes.
Fucking sick. But
Okay,
anyways,
so are we ready to talk about why we think it's underrated?
yeah. I mean, I'll go first real quick. I
Yeah.
think it's underrated just because I think it should have got more love. I
Mhm.
think the thing is that too many people went into it and they were like, older people like us, like me and Fred, were probably like, oh shit, we were expecting something else. But I feel like if
I
you
think
notice,
that was the thing, the misconceptions.
the
that people had
misconceptions
about
is a lot of things. If you notice, everybody here has certain kind of ideas
yeah.
of what they expected.
it. Mhm.
Because like I was just saying, I love the flamboyance, I love the spandex. Then somebody else goes, well, I like the story, I like the character driven arcs. Somebody else is like, oh, I wanted more action, I wanted more fighting, more kaijus, stuff like that. I think everybody just went in with a certain kind of mentality of what they themselves expected from the original MMPR.
Yeah.
And it's
'Cause
perfectly fine.
it wasn't like the old Power Rangers. It wasn't what you would expect, and it's kind of like kids aren't going to go see this movie, and the core audience went and saw it, but that's pretty much it. There was like the diehard Power Rangers fans, the people who grew up with Power Rangers, who love Power Rangers, they went and saw it.
Oh yeah, I
There
was
wasn't a
there
lot of-
fucking first
Yeah,
night.
me too.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of people outside of that though that saw it.
Yeah, I believe that this movie had a core audience, and that core audience did go see the movie. I just think that this movie chose too small of a core audience, and while executed well, I believe that not enough people wanted to see a Power Rangers movie, especially a Power Rangers movie made like this.
A thoughtful kind of and I think that a lot of the critics, they were like going in like expecting either a Smash 'em Up Power Rangers movie, or then when they got
were
some
expecting,
Or like Shadow the Hedgehog, basically.
yeah,
this is
exactly.
the critics were like, most critics are just like right off the bat probably not going to give a Power Rangers movie a good score. They people, the Roger Eberts of the stuff of the world,
There's
tend to look down on these kind of movies.
with this kind of film, there's so many people to please.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people you want to please, but at the same time, you're not going to be able to.
No.
Because it touched it's a good part of this movie. It's all about like building friendships and like all these real issues, and like these people start as outsiders and they come together and they learn that they have all these problems with themselves that they can, when they talk to each other, they can help each other out, and it's about being in group, and that's the cool thing. They can only morph when they learn to trust each other, and that's like a big thing in the movie. And I think like that's not what people want from a Power Rangers movie necessarily.
No, but that's the thing that like every
and that's why I
Power
think it's underrated though. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
I
But that
think
is
it's
a
underrated.
kind of a Power Rangers
that's a Power Rangers thing,
theme.
because I was going to say
Yeah.
that happens every season, every time. Every Ranger
but
has to
not
come
in,
together.
in this way, at least. That's what I'm saying. It's not in a way that it seems like a Breakfast Club style movie,
Yeah, I guess. I mean, depends on how you look at it. But I believe it was underrated just because it was a little avant-garde over the Power Rangers normally. Power Rangers, I mean, I don't know how popular Power Rangers is right nowadays. That's another thing. Back when we saw it in the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
I bet a lot of people went and go watch the Power Rangers in the 95 because it was just, at the time, was hot. Power Rangers were hot. That was a big thing to see. Is it that popular now? Maybe not. I think that maybe, hopefully, now that it's on, right now that it's on Amazon Prime, and it's free. Maybe
Hulu,
more.
Hulu. It's on Hulu.
No, I saw it on Amazon
now
Prime.
it's on Hulu?
Yeah, it's on Hulu now.
Okay, no, I saw it on Amazon Prime the other day.
Yeah, it's on Amazon
We
Prime.
saw it on Amazon Prime.
Oh, is it
We
on?
saw
Oh, yeah.
it.
Okay, maybe it's
Yeah,
on both. Then.
I don't.
Because I watched it on Hulu.
Yeah, because I saw it on Amazon Prime. But well, now that it's on some streaming sites for free, maybe it might gain more of an audience.
Perhaps.
I
I
mean,
hope so.
I think it's good. Like I said, I think it's good. I love it. It's a Power Rangers movie. I'm gonna watch it. It's just like anybody who watches, like for example, all the DC fans that watch BVS and say it's the best movie in the world. I mean, it's not in the same category because Power Rangers was better than BVS. But what I'm trying to say is you're gonna have diehard guys go like, "Wow," they're gonna defend it. What?
What person is saying that?
Yeah, but like you were saying, I think that even if you guys aren't,
superior.
if you guys aren't Power Rangers fans, still go give it a check.
Oh, yeah.
Go check out this movie.
Oh, most definitely.
Like because there's people who are not gonna just they're gonna want to say, oh, it's Power
if-
Rangers. I don't want to watch it.
if you're a
Go
Power,
check it out.
if you're a Power Rangers fan, you should go into it thinking of it's just another series of Power Rangers. A different telling of Power Rangers, a different group of Power Rangers. Don't think of it.
Interpretation.
Don't think of it. No, not even interpretation. Just take it as, like I said, when you go into Zero, it's just a different Power Rangers, different group, different powers. Just go like that. These might be Power Rangers, and they might have Power Rangers in the title, but you know what? They're not the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They're just Power Rangers.
All right,
They're Saban's Power Rangers.
Well,
Right. And then,
they were.
well,
So,
yeah, I think
just to end it off, I guess.
Yeah, well,
I think we all though would recommend it. We all enjoyed it.
We would all recommend
Yeah.
it because I felt like we all have different interpretations of what we liked about it and
But
what
it
we
was-
didn't like about it.
but it was good. At the end of the
So-
day, I think this table all agrees that it was good, and
Yeah.
well, now to wrap it up,
Yeah.
thanks for listening, everybody.
Wait.
Yeah.
I want to wrap it up.
Can I say something real fast? I'll just say
Say it, and then I'll have one last thing
I
to
just
say.
want to say, guys, if the podcast did sound a little different, we decided to record outside today, mix it up a little bit, kind of get it more. It is.
We're in Southern California.
And it's
We're
real
in
hot.
lovely
It was,
Angel
83.
Grove,
Yeah.
California.
just,
the
just
sun's
down the street
hot.
from Disneyland, but it
And-
is real hot, so we mixed it up, and so that's why we're doing kind of a more natural podcast today. So if you guys hear some birds chirping,
Listen
Yeah.
to the birds and the bees.
We normally record in a hot
in a hot as
garage.
fuck garage.
So please bear with us while we don't pass out from heat exhaustion.
but yeah. Anyway, Alan, go ahead and wrap it up.
And then lastly, I want to wrap it up with, all right, guys, listeners, if you are Power Rangers fans, what is your favorite Power Rangers theme? What theme song makes you go, fuck yeah, that is my shit? Derek, do you have a favorite theme?
It's got to be Mighty Morphin. You can't beat Mighty Morphin.
Mighty Morphin.
It's so fire. It's to this day, I still have that on repeat in my brain.
Mhm. And then Sergio?
Yee.
Huh?
That's a pass from him, I think.
No, Yee. Yeezy. Power.
Yeah.
Kanye.
Oh, got him.
Nice.
Considering that Mighty Morphin was my generation, and I unlike you two didn't keep up with it. Mighty Morphin, yeah, definitely.
So everyone's gonna go Mighty Morphin.
What
Hell
about
no.
you? What
This
No.
is the problem. You
No,
guys,
I
you
just-
guys haven't expanded your mind.
You haven't. No, you have not.
It's
Let's
the
go, son.
ending theme song to the Japanese version of Kyoryuger. It's the fucking best. They even dance around and they make little like chopping things. I'll show it to you guys on YouTube later. But it's a
Link
shit.
it. Put it in the link. Yeah,
It's a shit.
Yeah, we'll link it below. And Alan, though, what's yours? Give us your.
Of course, my favorite, the best.
Hmm.
Oh,
Zio.
y'all think about NPR? No,
And
it's
not Zio, baby.
Zio.
Zio's good.
Shit him.
Stronger than
I'm not-
before.
Go Zio.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Oh,
That's
I
my
like
shit.
Zio
That's
too.
my
Don't
favorite
get me
one.
wrong. All right,
Right.
but yeah, thanks guys for listening.
Thank you for listening, lads.
Yep. So, guys, thanks for listening, everybody. Hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcasting app to make sure you're always notified when one of our new episodes comes out. And if you guys could give us a 5-star rating and a great review, we would really appreciate that. It really helps us out. Also, if you guys would like to share out our podcast so that others may enjoy it like you are, we also really appreciate that. And let us know what else you guys like to hear from us. What other new podcasts, what other new episode you might want to hear on our podcast. And if you guys got a movie that you guys think is underrated, you guys might want to hit us up with, by all means, go ahead. But thank you for listening and thank you for hanging out with us. We are the Undercast Company and we're made up of Ariel and Sergio.
Nerd Incorporated, thank you for being easy.
You guys can check them out at Nerd Incorporated on Instagram and any other things.
We do a podcast. I do a podcast with Garrett, Infinity Stones and Dragon Bones. It's a Marvel podcast that we release basically after every major MCU release. So expect the next one for Spider-Man Far From Home.
Dope. And then you got me, Fred Torres, and Alan Torres from
Shift into turbo.
Oh.
Go. Fighting.
Yeah. You can find us down in the slums singing Power Ranger songs for money, and also at District 6 on Instagram and on all of our stuff.
There's no I.
And pie?
I.
No, there's I.
There's an I.
And fly,
Fly.
maybe. And we got Derek Duff here. Where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Derek's Photos. That's DERICKS _photos. You can also find me on Facebook on Derek's Films and Podcasts. But yeah, and then listen to that podcast Ariel mentioned before, Maybe Sons of Dragon Bones, that I run.
Cool, and you guys can expect another amazing podcast on another underrated movie soon. Please join us again. And we out until next time.
Thanks. See you later. Life, brother.
Take it easy.
All right.